Bingo Blitz rules.
If your bingo has ads in it,
That's not a bingo.
if it doesn't have the coolest tournaments, mini games, and the most breathtaking design,
Nope, not a bingo.
if your bingo moment makes you feel so excited that you just want to burst in joy and scream out loud, bingo! Sorry, so you're playing...
Bingo Blitz? Now that's a bingo. Go for a world of excitement with Bingo Blitz, the #1 free bingo game. Download Bingo Blitz and play for free.
Now that's a bingo.
This episode is brought to you by Skinny Pop Popcorn. Perfectly popped, endlessly delicious. Oh, so light and crunchy. Skinny Pop Original Popcorn is the snack you've been searching for. Made with just 3 simple ingredients: popcorn kernels, sunflower oil, and salt. Snacking never felt or tasted so good. Perfectly popped, endlessly delicious. Give yourself permission to snack and pick up Skinny Pop Original Popcorn today.
Let's hang out. Let's hang out. And let's talk about what Legends have found. Let's hang out. And let's listen to 2 lesbians shout. Let's hang out. Let's hang out.
Hey everyone, and welcome back to Let's Hang Out, the podcast that is, yours. We've already lost Ellie. It's all done.
All right, and that's the whole episode.
From the West Coast, I'm Lee Holmes Foster.
And from the East Coast, I'm Ellie Brigida. To those of you who have been with us through this whole journey, thank you as always for listening. If you're a new listener, welcome. We're excited to have you here. And here's what's happening this week.
This week in the Lesdom.
This week in the Lesdom is somewhere that we can touch base every episode about things going on with us, with our lives, with the podcast, or with the greater Les universe. And this week, we want to kick it off, first of all, because it is coming up. It's almost here. We're so excited. We are going to be in LA on Thursday for a live show at the Virgil at 7 p.m.
I cannot wait. Leah and I will be in the same place, and we're going to be hanging out with Ashley Perez and Elise Bauman. We are going to be hanging out with some lesbians galore. What is our life?
It might be the best night ever. I don't want to promise that, but I'm certainly not expecting any less, so do not miss out. There are still tickets available. They are $15 if you buy them ahead. They will be $20 day of, so I would just buy some tickets.
Get your tickets.
Just
Get
your tickets now.
Yeah, bit.ly/LesLA. You got this. We also have some trivia nights coming up. We have our Schitt's Creek trivia night in Boston, which is already sold out. Sorry, people.
But if you couldn't get tickets to the Boston Schitt's Creek trivia on the 26th, you could just hop on over to San Francisco and join us
Easy
at
trip.
Jolene's, also on March 26th, also for Schitt's Creek trivia. So there's just plenty of opportunities to do Schitt's Creek trivia. That's all we're saying.
And if you're a Killing Eve fan, we're going to be having a Killing Eve premiere party in Boston at Bella Luna on April 26th. We're also hiring trivia hosts in other cities, so email us at events@leshangoutpod.com if you're interested.
And in the greater Les universe, I hesitated whether to put this in here, but I feel like it was a Les universe response to this event, which was 2 female contestants from the latest season of The Bachelor, Jasmine and Alexa, who had lesbians on the edge of their seats when they posted a photo on Instagram, all cuddled up, cute, holding hands, captioned, "We did find love after all." Unfortunately, it was just a giant gay bait, and they are not actually dating, and who thought anything straight was going to come of that? So, disappointing, but, there was a brief moment that happened in the queer world.
So Jasmine and Alexa should have been gay. That's all. We also want to talk about Clifford the Big Red Dog, because in the reboot, there will be 2 gay moms. So Emily Elizabeth has friends who have 2 moms, and they invite them over for a dinner party, and we think that is so sweet and beautiful, and we are so excited for Clifford the Big Red Dog to meet Emily Elizabeth's lesbian mom friends.
We're looking forward to the protests across America already.
I'm so excited.
It's gonna be great.
It's gonna be great.
That's what's happening this week. Back to you, Ellie and Lee.
Thanks, Ellie and Lee, and welcome everyone to Season 3, Episode 12, our next installment of Lez-ssentials.
Lez-ssentials is a recurring segment on the show, one of our favorites, where we dive into those classic essential lesbian movies or shows. We've said it, but we have yet to actually do a show. This is our first time, and we are very excited.
Oh, yeah.
as a reminder, we are now writing and recording original songs for each Lez-ssentials that we do. So you will want to stick around until the end of this episode for a very emotional experience. Because today's Lez-ssentials, tell us what we've got going on, Ellie.
I'm sorry, when you started talking about the song, I just started tearing up again, and I forgot what I was supposed to keep talking about, because I just need people to know. We say it every time you write a song, but this one was impeccable, so you're gonna love it. But for this Lez-ssentials episode, we're doing a breakdown of one of the first impactful lesbian couples on television, Buffy's Willow and Tara. And I'm so excited. We will chat. This is what this show's about. But
are we going to talk on the podcast?
We're going to talk.
Is that what we do? That's what we do here.
But the most exciting part of this episode is that we'll also be joined by a special guest later in the episode. We had the chance to sit down with Amber Benson, who plays Tara on Buffy, and we got to talk to her about the impact that Tara and Willow had on us and on LGBTQ media and culture. It was just so wonderful. So you can sit through listening to me and Lee chat for a very long time, and then
or just skip us and go straight to Amber.
Yeah, and then finally hear from Amber. But we are so excited.
Understandable. This is the second time that we have gotten to spend some time with Amber, and I believe we said it after ClexCon last year. We are gonna say it again. I honestly think she is possibly the most delightful person that we've gotten to meet through this podcast. She is just the best, y'all. She's the best.
She's so nice and great.
We cannot overstate it.
And hilarious. So. And yeah. Amber, we love you.
Amber, we love you. Thank you so much for joining us again. We can't wait for all of you to hear what she had to say later on. But before we do that, we're going to do a quick intro to Buffy. For anyone who is not familiar with Buffy the TV show, Buffy the Vampire Slayer. First of all, I don't think we can be friends if you do not know
Get on the Buffy wagon, please.
Intimately. Buffy is a show that ran for 7 seasons from 1997 to 2003. We are going to read the IMDb synopsis, which is as follows. A young woman destined to slay vampires, demons, and other infernal creatures deals with her life fighting evil with the help of her friends. However, we're not really here to talk about Buffy. We're here to talk about
We're not talking about Buffy, like, barely at all.
Like, not at
Peripherally.
all. We're here to talk about Willow and Tara. Willow and Tara is a pairing that was on the show from the 4th through the 6th seasons, starring Allison Hannigan as Willow and Amber Benson as Tara. And I feel like in that vein, Ellie, we should give a Tara and Willow synopsis. Do you think that's fair? Like
yes.
our gay Tara and Willow synopsis.
Our gay synopsis, but it actually was gay, not it should have been gay. Yes.
Yes.
Okay, so synopsis of Willow and Tara. All right, 2 gay witches fall in love, use their magic to have magical sex, basically raise a child together, go through some ups and downs with Willow's magic addiction, ultimately get back together, and then we forget what happened at the end, so I won't even talk about it. They get back together, everything's beautiful, and they love each other, okay?
I approve. I'm like tongue-tied already about this. I can't do it.
I feel like we do have to say, if you have not seen Buffy and you don't want spoilers, do not listen to this episode.
Oh, yeah. Well, I wouldn't recommend that.
Yes. Do not listen to this episode because we're going to talk about everything that happened. And I don't want to spoil anything for you, even though I'm pretty sure everyone knows how Tara's journey ends.
Yes.
But still, yes.
But we won't talk about it.
Yeah.
At least not now.
Not now.
At least not right now.
Not now.
Okay, if I had to give a gay synopsis of Tara and Willow's story on Buffy, my gay synopsis would be Lee's first giant conscious female crush, Allison Hannigan, plays gay on television, eradicating any chance that I would wind up straight, you know?
Yeah. I'm sure plenty of people, Buffy was their first, like, fuck, I'm gay.
Oh, God, it was a lot when it happened. I had such a crush on Willow. It was absurd.
She's a cutie.
I still love Allison Hannigan.
Yeah.
I love Allison Hannigan. Anything
Any
she's
day.
ever done.
Any day. Bandcamp?
Anything. She's just
best.
What a treasure. Okay, so that's our intro to Willow and Tara. Obviously, this is going to be a little different than our usual recaps because whereas we usually do our best to recap a movie in under the time it would take someone to
watch the movie,
sometimes
over the time. Wait, Before you go on. Somebody messaged us and was like, "Hey, I loved your Booksmart episode. I watched the movie, paused it, played your commentary." Like, basically, like we were the commentary. So I hope that people do that. And then,
it's like watching with a peanut gallery.
Yes,
that's amazing.
that's literally it. So we're going to try to do that for this TV show that is honestly 7 hours of material.
It's so much.
And we're going to try to be as concise as possible.
It's so much. We're just going to try to hit the
main points.
Main points of Willow and Tara's relationships as best we can. We might get pulled into some real detailed things here and there, but for the most part, we're going to try to just give an overview of this beautiful relationship and what it meant to us, and then we'll hear what it meant to Amber as well. And I'm so excited, everyone. I'm so excited.
I'm so excited.
Before we get started, I just need to say, for me, personally, Buffy is a quintessential part of my life and who I am as a person. One of the very first things when Kelsey and I started dating in college, the first thing I made her do was sit down and watch all 7 seasons of Buffy. So this means a lot to me. I know it means a lot to a lot of other people out there.
Yes.
But let's start with the very first episode where we meet a young woman by the name of Tara in a Wicca group.
Also, diving in. Let's not get specific, but let's just talk about this Wicca group. So Willow and Tara are both in this Wicca group. Willow is actually a witch. Like, she can do spells. She like lifts pencils and shit. This is the point where Willow is just starting to get powerful, but she is a badass witch, right? So she joins this Wicca group thinking they're going to teach her some magic, and all they want to do is have bake sales. Like, they don't want to actually do magic. So
they not only don't want to do it, they find it offensive that anyone would think that's what a Wicca group is for.
Yes.
Right?
Yes. And we only see Tara really in this scene as how she's looking at Willow. And then she does try to talk at least. But so Willow's like, hey, let's do some spells. And you see Tara's eyes just like, oh,
lock on.
Another witch? Oh, I see what's going on here. And the way that they look at each other, this is their first scene. And you already can feel the chemistry.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel like we should just get this out of the way ahead of time. On the scale of things that lean into our whole magic is gay.
This
factual statement.
This is legitimately magic is gay. This isn't
magic is gay.
This isn't even
There's no question. There's not. They don't even pretend otherwise. Magic is a very, very firm stand-in for gay throughout this entire show, kind of almost for the rest of it.
Yes.
So I love that with that in mind. Yeah, the first thing that makes Tara notice and kind of lock on to Willow is someone wants to do spells.
Yeah. Somebody else is gay like me?
I love spells.
Want to do spells together? And, and we see, too, seeing Tara as how she progresses. She's very shy. She raises her hand to say something in the Wicca group, and the Wicca girls are so rude to her. And are like, oh, Tara, you want to talk now? You never talk, you weird witch girl.
She's got a little nervous stutter.
Yeah, she has a little nervous stutter. She's so cute. And you can tell that Willow is looking at this girl like, this person has something to say. Like, this person, she doesn't underestimate her, even from like the first time seeing her, which I just think is beautiful.
And also she pulls the immediate gay move of being like, someone wants to do spells, I want to be her friend. And she ventures out into the night to find Willow. So the first episode is Hush, no one can talk, so they venture out into the night to find Willow to see if maybe they could do a spell to help figure out what's happening to everyone in town and why can't anyone talk. And you're just like, gay.
She's like, let me go to your dorm room late at night. And when she gets there, right? But the gentlemen like come after them.
So Tara goes to find Willow's dorm room, and she gets in the dorm and starts getting attacked by the gentlemen chasing her. And so she's pounding on doors to try to get someone to let her in the room. And then they start coming out of the rooms with like the beating hearts in their hands. And Willow, of course, being the kind, gentle, caring heart that she is, hears someone pounding on doors and opens her door to get bowled over by Tara, and then they have to go and run away from the gentlemen and their crazy, crazy minions.
And this scene where so they run into this room, they lock the door behind them, and they're like, how are the gentlemen are gonna get us? Oh no. what should
saying this all with their eyes, of course.
Yes, because they can't speak. That's also the best part. Their first episode, most of their interactions are nonverbal.
Yeah.
And when you think about any sort of romantic relationship, a huge part of what makes that relationship more romantic are the nonverbal cues of your relationship.
Do you mean nonverbal cues like making pointed, emotional, intense eye contact and then threading your fingers through someone else's fingers to feel a surge of magical energy that allows the two of you to move a vending machine with your minds?
Something like that. Yeah,
something like that.
That's
okay.
usually how most relationships start, right?
Yeah, I don't know how you met your girlfriend, Ellie, but that's basically my beginning of my relationship right there.
But yes, they literally, within 10 minutes of one of their first like dates, they're holding hands and doing magic.
They're doing magic.
They really are.
Love it. They take off from there because I think it's like the next episode that Tara's in, right? Where they're walking into her dorm room and she just has this one line that I wrote down where she's like, I've been thinking about that last spell we did all day. And I'm like, I bet you have. They lean so hard into what magic represents.
Yes.
It's amazing.
It's so good. I feel like we do have to talk a little bit about how a big part of their relationship, because there were censors on TV, they couldn't do a lot of physical gay things. Joss really he directly leaned into. Like, this is not like subtext. He chose to talk about them doing magic in a sexualized way to show that these people are together. They're not just friends hanging out and doing magic. Like, everything they talk about is very, very sexual, and I love it. Oh my God. There's also Tara's talking about how Willow is such a good witch, and Willow says, I'm definitely nothing special. And Tara says, no, you are.
You are.
And that's like the majority of the beginning of the relationship. There is some questionable shit towards the end that we'll talk about, and they work through that however you're going to work through it. But from the beginning of their relationship, I feel like it always is, it's characterized by Willow and Tara both validating each other. Tara validates Willow in that she's powerful and that she's important, where Willow doesn't feel important with the Scooby Gang, right? And she's like, no, you are important. And then same thing later when Tara feels left out. Willow's like, you are essential. Yeah, you are essential. And it's from like episode 2 or 3 of them together. It doesn't take that long for them to get there. So I love it.
That's the other thing that's crazy to me. Going back and rewatching some of their relationship is, it is. What I love about Tara as a character is Tara is shy, Tara's unsure, Tara is nervous and hesitant, and she's a lot of things. But Tara knows what she wants and she knows what she likes, and they never shied away from that. And I love it because it is so early on when you can tell. I mean, one of the things that I loved about Willow and Tara's relationships when you were watching it like in real time when it was playing, is it was so organic and real in a lot of ways. Like watching Willow, who up until this point in the show had been completely straight. She'd had a crush on Xander, she'd had Oz, like there had never really been much of an indication other than Vampire Willow at that point, which was kind of played off as just a joke, right?
Yes.
That anything was going to go in this direction, and it wasn't played that way. It's not like they meet Tara and Willow is immediately like, oh my God, who is this hot sexy mama over here? I want to get on that. Like, that's not what happens. What happens is you watch the two of them form a connection emotionally immediately, and then you watch that connection slowly start to make sense to Willow.
Yes.
But it immediately makes sense to Tara.
Tara knows exactly what she's getting into. And later on, Willow's like, you've been out for longer than me, blah, blah, blah. So we know that before Tara was with Willow, she's been out. Like
she's been out.
Yeah.
And that's why you get these lines like very, very early on in their interactions when you have that scene with Willow saying, it's not that I'm hiding you from my friends. I just want to it's nice having something that's just mine. And Tara gives her that iconic, I am, huge emotional pause. yours. And like, it is something else, because that is a ballsy move for a hesitant character.
Yes.
Like, that is leaving nothing to the imagination. And that's what I love about Tara, is like, Tara is not sure of herself in so many ways, but she puts it all on the line to make sure that, like, it is clear from day one how she feels about Willow.
Oh,
and
yeah.
It's, I like get chills thinking about it again. I'm like, I love it so much.
Love it. Love it. I agree. And like, I think they do portray Tara as shy towards the beginning, but the more you get to know her, she's really not. She's maybe soft-spoken.
Oh, she grows, yeah.
Soft-spoken, but I think she is sure of herself, especially we'll talk about further. But oh my goodness.
One of the other early interactions that I kind of love, because through some of these scenes, you know, she says that to Willow, and Willow doesn't really react that much, right? And so it's like, it's not always clear throughout the process, like, how much is Willow grasping what's happening with her and Tara consciously through all of this? And that's why I love that when Willow does decide to introduce Tara to some of her friends, because they run into Buffy who they think is Buffy,
who is Faith in Buffy's
Bronze,
body,
who is Faith in Buffy's body. And I love that Faith, our gay icon Faith,
of course she knows,
clocks it in like
immediately,
a heartbeat. Faith has no question of what is happening here. She's like, oh, cool, I guess that's happening, because she picks up on it immediately, because of course she does. Her gaydar's fantastic. She's gay as shit, so
Willow isn't driving stick anymore. What a line.
I love it so much.
I also love too how, of course, okay, this is Faith in Buffy's body, so not great, but there's so many sort of like subtle ways that Joss uses different characters to talk about Willow and Tara's relationship without being like, they're together, right? You have Faith being like, oh, they're together, so we can know from somebody else, right? Even though like we should know. But I just imagine when it was on that there were plenty of straight people who were like, oh, Willow and Tara's friendship is so nice. And Joss is like, what the fuck? Like, do you not see they are gay? And so there's like constantly more and more like overt things that are telling you, oh, they're together.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's also, sorry, just because we're on that episode, can we touch real fast on the spell that they do in that episode? Because it's also one of my favorite, like, magic is gay sex is what's happening right now. Because they do that whole scene where she's like, oh, I'd have to be your anchor and keep you on this plane. And Will's like, I trust you. And she's like, it's not like anything that we've ever. And she's like, I trust you.
Yeah.
So
you're like, what have you been doing before, ladies? And what are you trying now? They're like, we're going to try this new position. It's going to be a little difficult. Like,
I've got a new toy.
Yeah. I've got this new toy.
I trust you.
I trust you. She's like, okay, well, I just want to get, I trust you.
Look, I don't know what they're trying, Ellie, but what I know is it involves a lot of prolonged eye contact. They're both very sweaty. And then I swear Willow basically has an orgasm on camera.
Does. She does. Like, she literally, like, leans back.
Falls back onto a pillow.
It is.
The arching and the sweaty arching and gasping. Yeah, it's, again,
it's sex.
They're not really being subtle with what this is a metaphor of. So it's a good thing that there's a lot of trust on both sides for your first time, ladies. That's good. We're happy for you.
So much. I wrote in my notes, the magic sex scene's intense.
It's really is.
Because it really is
intense. I think my notes just say gay, 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 gay.
I
in
mean,
big capital letters.
I almost feel like, because this is so subtexty because of the time, I almost feel like we're like talking about it should have been gay, but this is actually gay.
Oh no, yeah.
Yeah.
It was meant to be gay. It's just done in such a
subtle, metaphorical kind of way, because we couldn't really see them being physical together.
Right.
But then,
also, up until this point, nothing officially has happened yet, right? Because I think we should get to God, it's gonna take us forever to get through this. That's fine. We'll try to move a little faster.
Like, okay. Sorry, people.
We should get to New Moon Rising.
Can we talk about one thing before New Moon Rising? Because I think it's really important.
I can't say no to you, Ellie.
And there's a lot more meat in the stuff before they get together. And there is a lot of stuff after, like, their girlfriends. But there's a lot of meat in, like, their love story before that I want to just dig into. So sorry.
Okay.
But there's one thing. So there's an episode that's all about the sex house.
Yes,
right?
I have notes on the sex house too, and I was trying to skip it.
No, we have to talk about the sex house. We have to talk about the sex house. Because in the sex house, this really frames it like they're together now. Like, it's clear they are physical with each other off screen. We haven't seen it really except for the magic sex. But Willow touches Tara's knee and Tara freaks out and is like, that's disgusting.
Don't touch me.
Yeah, don't touch me. That's disgusting. And it's like, she's taken aback, obviously. It's like a demon thing.
Yes.
But I feel like there's just like a lot of subtext of like Willow being like, wait, is this serious? Like, there's a lot of like homophobia there. There's just so much meat in literally that like one section.
It is like a demonic representation of your internalized homophobia.
Yeah.
Because it is too, like, you can tell they've had a very intimate relationship, a very like physically close relationship up until now. And again, it's not always entirely clear how tuned into what's going on Willow has been, but you can tell Willow's response to touching Tara in a way that is totally commonplace for them and suddenly having it be like a dirty, shameful thing that she did, it really throws her so much. And you can see her battling with that reaction. Like, yeah, I agree. I was trying to skip us forward, but you're right, we should
But
talk
it is important before we talk about New Moon Rising because they're together. It's not like, oh, well, maybe Willow has feelings for her.
Right.
They're together.
And it's clarifying in Willow's mind by now.
Yes, that Willow also is
feels.
Reciprocating what Tara has been telling her. Like, I'm yours, and Willow clearly feels the same. We just haven't really heard it from her, but a lot of this physical stuff tells you that it's the case. So I think that's important.
And if she didn't get it, by the beginning of New Moon Rising, where they're holding hands talking about getting a cat together, you'd have to assume she catches on.
Like, so much gay shit. Literally, she's like, Tara's like, I'm thinking about getting a cat. And Willow's like, oh, it could be our cat. I'm like, you've been together for 4 days. Like, you are definitely, like Willow's full on in a lesbian relationship now. Now that the cat has been solidified, we're all on board.
They're literally walking across campus, like, holding hands.
Yes. They're so cute and sweet.
They're so cute, and they're so cute and so happy until knockity knock knock. Who's at the door?
Ozzy boy.
Oz. Tara's
face is so sad.
And her reaction when there's this moment where everyone is just staring and Willow's like, Oz. And then Tara goes, Oz. And you can just see like her whole heart just falls out of her chest onto the floor to be just stepped and crushed and kicked aside.
It's so sad.
Oh my God, it is so much in that scene. Just her, I don't know how Amber did this in that scene, but she just like shrinks in on herself. It is just like inwards, and she is like, you can just see her putting up all those walls again to be safe, to keep herself safe.
I know. And think about like this poor lesbian who like has this new girlfriend, and then the girlfriend's ex-boyfriend shows up, who she knows like she has a pretty serious past with, and maybe there's unresolved stuff there. Like, that is really rough.
It's so rough. And it's the other reason I love Tara. She is such a giant sucker martyr,
for Willow, yes.
For Willow, in the same way that I have been in my life. I feel you, girl. I
know.
I hear where you're coming from. But she's like, whatever happens, I'll still be here. I'll still be your friend. And you're like, oh, Tara, honey.
I know.
You gotta value yourself.
I know, but I'm like, stand up for yourself, honey. But she's like, I love you. I just want you to be happy, because she does. Like, she cares
That's
about...
what she says. Do what makes you happy, with that little stutter. And you're like,
and you're
I
like,
can't.
Tara, don't you see? You are what makes her happy.
I know. And Oz catches on, because I love how they played that too, of Oz slowly realizing, that whole scene where he smells Willow, who he thinks is Willow, coming around the corner,
Tara.
and it's Tara. And he's trying to talk to her, and you can just see, like, it's bothering him. It's, like, getting to him that he finally can't help himself. He's like, you smell like her. She's all over you. Do you know that? And, like, he immediately also locks in to, like, man, Oz and Faith, right? Just on top of it.
It's like, also, Oz and Faith know that this is happening, right? And Buffy's still oblivious.
Yes.
Because she's just an idiot and she's so self-involved. But so we get this whole scene too that I love where Willow's talking to Buffy.
Yes.
And she's like, you know, Buffy's like, oh, Oz was here. Like, oh, exciting. You and Oz are getting back together. And Willow's like, how are you so oblivious? Like, it's not like, yes, great. Oz was here and it was awesome. But also, like, I'm with Tara. Like, I literally
I'm now clearly in love with this girl that I keep bringing everywhere.
Yeah, like, who did you think she was?
Yeah.
And Buffy's like, oh, well, you know, oh, Tara has a crush on Oz? Like, what? Buffy, for the 2 seconds that Tara saw Oz's face in the one scene,
right,
she has a crush on Oz. Like, what is going on in your stupid straight brain? And finally, you know, she realizes, and then she does try. It's every first conversation.
That's great, Will. I'm happy for you, Will.
Yeah, she just keeps calling her Will, and then she says, Tara's a really great girl. Like, yeah. She's really, really trying, but she's clearly freaked out.
I mean, but also for the time for when this aired, you know, it was a great scene. I mean, I don't know that it ages the same way. It can't possibly fit in the same context as it did then. I remember, because I was watching Buffy live at this point. I didn't watch the first couple seasons, like maybe the first 2 seasons or so when they were airing. So what year was
this, 2003?
No, it ended in 2003. So this must have been 2000, 2001, something around there.
Okay, so were you out at the time?
No.
Oh, so what were you thinking during that scene?
I mean, what I was thinking is I definitely had a crush on Allison Hannigan. That's not the point. The point is, what I remember is I remember watching this because I not only used to watch Buffy, I used to watch it with my parents, right? And I remember when these episodes were airing and this episode with her having that conversation with Buffy, and to understand what this was and how different our understanding of stuff was, and how, you know, just what a different context everything was in at that point, is I remember watching this and I remember having conversations with my dad where he just thought that it was ridiculous that someone would go through their entire life up until, like, get into college and not know that they had any inclination to dating girls, which is so funny in hindsight when you think about it, because, like, that's literally how I met my wife.
Yeah, it's also like probably a good majority of people.
I mean, it is, but that's the thing is, like, back then, I don't think that was as understood, that, like, it was not that weird to assume, like, how could someone have dated guys and not know?
Yeah.
That they're into women at all. Like, wouldn't you know that you're not into the men that you've dated? And it's like,
also bisexuality exists, my friends.
Also bisexuality exists, and also, like, sometimes people repress parts of themselves and don't realize it, you know?
Yeah.
And, like, I literally remember watching this and remember how much sense Buffy's reaction made in that context, right? That this wasn't something that would have ever occurred to her, and that just completely threw her for a loop. And she doesn't react badly. I mean, she doesn't react super well in, you know, the sense of how people would react to something like someone coming out to them now.
But she's still supportive. Like,
yes,
I think
supportive,
it is,
or at least trying to be.
She's trying to be, even though she's a bit freaked out, which, like, I think you're right, is understandable for the time, and I think honestly is still understandable now. Like, I think there are people who still have that reaction, and of course they're well-intentioned. They love the people that come out to them, but they're still thrown. Mm-hmm. It's like she's thrown and she's trying to figure out, oh, how do I be supportive of this thing that just surprised me?
Right.
But that conversation is quite the talk. And then after Oz basically attacks Tara because he's like, oh, my ex-girlfriend is in love with you.
Right.
Like, holy shit.
And I've now turned into a werewolf.
And I turned into a werewolf over my jealous rage.
Fragile masculinity.
It still is Tara loves Willow so much.
She goes to get her immediately.
She immediately goes to get her to be like, I need to save my girlfriend's ex, basically, who just attacked me, but I know she cares about him and I care about her.
And you can just see when Willow's like, I have to go, I have to find Buffy, and she's like, I know. And you're like, oh my God, you already ripped your heart out of your own chest, and now you're just like stomping on it with your boot. Like, she just has she loves her so much.
I know. But we do see there's a lot of other stuff in between. Obviously, Oz is like, I thought I was okay, but I'm not, clearly. Like, you make me a werewolf, basically, which is rough. So Oz and Willow have like some closure, which I also think is really important. The conversation that Oz and Willow have in the van.
Yeah.
Especially, there's just so much debate, I feel like, of like, what is Willow's sexuality? Which still, they don't really label her ever.
Well,
sometimes
do later.
They call her a lesbian.
She, by the end of the series, she calls herself a lesbian. But that might have changed. I mean, when I came out, I was bisexual.
Yeah.
Because I had dated guys and didn't think that I was not into those guys that I had dated. But, I mean, your sexuality is not one locked thing that you dial in when you're 18 and then can never change for the rest of your life. Like, your sexuality is fluid. It's going to grow and evolve and change as it needs to, and that's okay. So yes. I think Willow's sexuality at this point in the series is certainly up for debate. I think later on when she's, when she says pretty categorically that she's a lesbian by later points in the show, I mean, I think you have to go with
what she says, yes.
That,
but still, it's a good scene. You don't leave being like, Oz is the bad person. Like, there's some closure there. They both are like, I'll always love you. Like, you'll always be a meaningful part of my life. So we see like that door's closed so that we can move forward with Willow and Tara, which I think is good. It's like, okay, we have this episode. Let's deal with the loose ends of Oz so you don't have to worry about him coming back again. And now let's get to Willow and Tara being cute as fuck.
Yes. Oh my God. Can we just, okay. We have to go through the last 30 seconds of that episode without spending like 30 minutes on it. But can we just talk about her showing up with her extra flamey candle?
It's so cute.
It's so cute. And Tara, you can just see, like, Tara has just smashed her own heart to a million little pieces this whole episode. She has been trying so hard to be supportive, to put Willow ahead of herself, to try to make sure that she's happy at all costs. And Willow shows up.
I also love Tara's still wearing Willow's sweatshirt. When she opens the door. I know. She's literally in Willow's sweatshirt, probably sitting there crying, thinking that her girlfriend's leaving her for her ex. And she's like, it's okay. You have to be with the person you love.
I am.
That line.
And then Ellie and Lee break into just uncontrollable crying, and it's great.
The first time I saw that scene, it ripped me in two.
Yes, it still does. It still does every time I watch it.
It's so beautiful. And then blow out the candle. We know they're gonna have some great magic sex. End scene.
And this episode is sponsored by BetterHelp. And as we head into Thanksgiving time, I want to start by thanking my wife, Kelsey, who has not only listened to just about every episode of this podcast for 8 seasons now, but who also is the only reason I'm able to make time to record it every week. She takes the kids, gets them dinner, and gets them ready for bed, just so that Ellie and I can come on and yell about gay things into each other's faces for an hour. So here's a reminder to send some thanks to the people you're grateful for in your life, including yourself. I've been in therapy for a long time now, and one thing that's so important about therapy is how it teaches you to be more intentional. And being intentional about gratitude and how to show that to the people you appreciate is just one of the many benefits that I've gotten from therapy over the years. If you've been thinking of starting therapy, consider giving BetterHelp a try. I know how hard it can be to find time for regular therapy, and BetterHelp is designed to be flexible and convenient for your schedule. You can fill out a brief questionnaire to get matched with a licensed therapist, and you can switch therapists at any time for no additional charge. If you want to start being more intentional about gratitude in your life, visit betterhelp.com/lezhangout today to get 10% off your first month.
That's BetterHelp, HELP.com/LesHangout.
Let's hang out.
For many businesses, the holiday season can be both an exciting and stressful time. With so many balls in the air, one thing you definitely want to know you can rely on is how you're selling your products. And with Shopify, you can rest easy knowing it's the home of the #1 checkout on the planet. Nobody does selling better than Shopify. And when it comes to successful brands like Aloe, Allbirds, or Skims, an often overlooked secret is all the things that go on behind the scenes that make selling, and for shoppers, buying, simple. For millions of businesses, if you take a peek behind that curtain, you'll see that Shopify is what makes it all possible. Shop Pay boosts conversions up to 50%, so that's more happy customers and way more sales going. It's true all the time, but especially this time of year, your commerce platform better be ready to sell wherever your customers are scrolling or strolling, on the web, in your store, in their feed, and everywhere in between. Businesses that sell more sell on Shopify. Upgrade your business and get the same checkout we use for Realm merch with Shopify. Sign up for your $1 per month trial period at shopify.com/realm, all lowercase. Go to shopify.com/realm to upgrade your selling today. Shopify.com/realm.
Ladies and gentlemen.
What are you doing?
What do you mean?
Just keep it simple.
I'm making the promo.
Just keep it simple. Just say, hey, we're the Brav Bros. Two guys that talk about Bravo.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, we're the Brav Bros.
No.
Oh.
Dude, stop with the voice. Just keep it simple.
I've seen promos on TV, dude. This is how you get the fans engaged. This is how you get listeners. We're trying to get listeners here. If we just say, oh, we're two dudes that talk about Bravo, people are going to get tired of it already. We need some oomph.
All right, then fine. Let's try to do it with your voice.
Brav Bros.
Good job.
Hi, I'm Laura Cathcart-Robbins, and I am the host and creator of the podcast, Only One in the Room. Every week, my co-host Scott Slaughter and I invite you to join us and lose yourself in someone's only one story. The Only One in the Room has a wide variety of guests, from prisoners to abuse survivors to swingers. With 21 seasons and counting, we guarantee that Only One in the Room will have a story that you'll connect with. This podcast is for anyone who has ever felt alone in a room full of people, which is to say that this podcast is for everyone.
Scene. At this point, we think it is a great time to relieve some of our emotional weight from our shoulders, and we will hear a little bit of our conversation with Amber Benson.
Thank you so much for joining us, Amber.
It is my pleasure. It's so weird to be like the special guest. I kind of like it.
We love it.
Do you want us to just have you on as a special guest for more stuff? We'll find things.
Yeah, sure. I'll just weigh in on all kinds of things I know nothing about.
Great.
We'll
do it.
Yeah, this is our second episode that we've had Amber on. We are doubly blessed.
Aw, you guys are very kind.
We are just determined to make you talk about every gay thing that has to do with Buffy ever in the world.
As long and as much as you want.
Spike and Angel? Is that the next one we're going to have to dissect?
We should dig into it.
There's so much gay. There's so much gay. So we have Amber here to give us some insight on Tara and Willow. We have a lot of thoughts, but we figured it'd be great to get some insight from Amber herself.
From the source, from the powers that be. That's what we need.
And I hope I can deliver the goods.
I think you will be able to. Let's dig right in. So, of course, Willow and Tara were huge for LGBTQ representation. When you started with Buffy, did you know what the impact was going to be like?
Not at all. They played trickies on us. They just said this was going to be a new friend for Willow, this Tara character. And so when I auditioned, it was just going to be like 2 episodes, and they were going to be in a Wicca group together, not knowing that that Joss had a whole thing planned. And he wanted to basically test the waters and see if Allie and I had chemistry. And when we did, it became... So you guys, in the back of my mind, I always knew that this is the way I wanted to go, and you guys have great chemistry, so let's make this happen. It's funny because the crew who didn't know, like no one had told them anything, kept coming over and being like, wow, you guys have such great chemistry. You guys just really like, you just light up the screen together. And Allie and I are like, oh, thanks. We didn't realize it was going to be that kind of lighting up and lifting up and
levitating.
Levitating. We didn't know we'd be levitating. So not at first, but I think once I went to the posting board party, which was this like party for charity that the fans would throw every year when we were shooting the show still, I walked in and it was such a scene and there were so many people and there were all of these like wonderful like comments coming at me, but there were also like a little bit of like, I don't know about her, she's not Oz. But then there were just lots of positive stuff too, but it was very overwhelming. And Marty Noxon took me aside and she was like, you have to be prepared. This is going to be impactful and it's going to change things. And, you know, you have to be aware of that and you have to like walk in understanding that. And, you know, she grew up in a queer household. And so she was very aware. And thank God she kind of took me under her wing and really walked me through it. And she was wonderful. I just so enjoyed working with her. I'm just such a big fan of Marty's. I just think she's wonderful. But yeah, that's when the posting board party is when I realized that things were going to kind of be important.
How far into the series were you at that point?
Very, very minimal. Like we had barely started. But once I knew we were going to be a couple and I saw the response, I was like, this is good. And it was interesting because, you know, we did get a little censored by by the network and the powers that be. And Joss really worked hard to make sure that, you know, this relationship was treated with respect and that even in the face of censorship, he was still pushing the envelope and trying to change how queer relationships were shown on television. And it was really important.
I've seen stories saying that, like, the first real kiss that we see between Tara and Willow in the body, I've seen that he, like, basically told the network, like, he would walk away from the show if they, like, refused to put that in there, which, you know, is huge. And I mean, you know, by that point, I was watching the show, like, you know, live, like, every week. And I mean, I remember that. And like, just, it's been hinted at. You've had the lights cut out at the very opportune moment. You've had, you know, like, close touching, but you know, you hadn't seen it yet. And it was, especially in that episode, I mean, it was such like a moment. There was a big moment that happened there, you know. Could you guys tell when you were filming that was going to be like a big deal?
It's really funny. Like, Joss was like, I want you guys to really go for it. He was like, I want this to be the kiss that ends all kisses. So like in the like we really like there was like a string of like there was a whole thing.
It was like Cruel Intentions up in there. Yeah.
And it was because he wanted to push it as far as possible because he knew they were going to come after him. He knew the censors were going to be like, you can't do that. So he's like, I'm just going to go to an extreme and they're going to make me cut it down to a tiny little thing. He's like, but if I give them a tiny little thing, they're going to make me cut it out. And I'm not going to do it. I'm going to fight them. So he created this whole scenario where, you know, he made them keep it. And he really like sort of played, he sort of manipulated the situation. And I think it was the only way it was going to happen. And he, you know, we can talk about how tough, like, Tara going out to pasture, we were talking about that earlier, how that was. But like, I truly don't think he would have gone through all of this if his intention had been to like hurt people. He really was just thinking about story and character arcs. And he so badly wanted Willow to have this amazing arc. And the only way to do it was to sort of make her lose the most important thing in her life. So I look at him and I see how much he went to bat in the beginning and how hard it was for him and how he really did have to take a stand. And I to me, that is indicative of who he was in that moment and what his intentions were.
It's funny too, like with all of the bury your gay tropes, like, and as much as Tara's death just like rips your heart out of your body.
It was awful.
It is actually one of the few, and part of it might just be like my fuzzy warm feelings towards Buffy that persist to this day, but like it is one of the few lesbian deaths that I don't get upset about. And I know people do.
Yeah. Well,
but
I think you can
feel
get
very
upset
similarly
about it, but maybe not in like a bury your gays kind of way. Like you're upset that she's dead, but you're not like upset like you killed a gay character to kill a gay character.
I think I see the reasons. I know that it is not the only cherished character that we lost on that show, but it's still just I
can't watch it. I still can't watch it.
What, did you watch the series when it was happening, or have you gone back and watched it?
I haven't gone back. So every week when the day the episode would air, that we had finished filming and that was going to be on TV, they would bring a TV into the cafeteria and we would all watch the episode at lunch.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So I was very on point.
It was like
with
mandatory.
What was happening. Yeah. You're like, if you want food, you're going to have to watch the episode. No, it's interesting with the bury your gay stuff because that didn't really exist to the extreme that it does now back then.
Yeah.
And I think if it had, he probably would not have done it the way he did it. Because he's very smart. Joss is a very smart man. And he would have been like, wait a minute, I'm not doing that. There's a trope. I don't do tropes. Just purely no tropes.
I mean, it's almost the one that kicked off the trope.
It kind of is.
It's the problem,
I know. It's like it was part of the beginnings of all of, as much as it was the beginnings of representation on television, because representation had been, you saw it more in film, but there wasn't a ton of it in television yet. But yeah, I think, it wasn't the trope that it is now. And so just to be contrary, even, and to be nice too, but just to be contrary, he wouldn't have done it. He'd be like, I'm not doing that.
Yes. I mean, it's interesting. We talked about this before the episode, but it has been 18 years since that episode had aired, which is crazy. But like we talk about, like, bury your gays is now such a big thing. Why do you think even now that scene, like people who just start watching Buffy, right? New watchers, but new viewers of Buffy are still heavily impacted by that scene and everything that it represents. So why do you think still, even almost 20 years later, it's still so impactful?
I think it's a testament to the relationship that was created on the show. We can talk about censorship and how, we weren't allowed to, have crazy banging sex on tombstones like Buffy and Spike were.
God damn it.
I know, damn it.
Like,
we were like, come on, guys.
You think Willow couldn't have brought down a house too?
Oh,
I mean,
hell yeah, she could have. Come on. She's magic, people.
Yeah.
Come on, she's magic. No, I think, even though we didn't have the level of intimacy that some of the other characters, the straight characters were given, the intimacy of emotion was really important and very nurtured on the show. These two characters basically raised Dawn. They were really solid. I think they were probably, until it all fell apart, they were the best relationship on the show.
Yeah.
They really were there for each other. They supported each other. They cared for each other. There was passion. There was love. There were floating roses. Come on.
There was levitating. Just all the basics that we all have in our relationships all the time.
Yes.
Yeah.
Like pretty much every queer relationship is pretty much
but
like
they're
that.
Also, it was very real, and I think it hit people in a real way, and in a way that sticks with you. Like, that's the thing that I thought was funny. I mean, we sent you a copy of the song, and what's funny is
it's so good.
Having written a handful of songs now for the podcast, I usually have to watch the movie. We've done them all for movies so far. I usually have to watch the movie like a ton of times to like figure out what we want to say and like what are the references that you want to sprinkle in and like what are the voices that you want to kind of capture, and like I rewatched nothing for this song. I probably haven't watched the series through in 5 years. I don't even know. It's been a while. But I'm like, I don't need to jog my memory on Tara and Willow. They're Tara and Willow. if it's not there, and it almost feels like more pure to be like, this is like the constant, like, I don't need to go find stuff. Like, I know what they were. I know what that relationship was, and I know what it felt like, and I, like, there was something very truthful about it, I think.
Yeah. No, I we had one of the guys in the art department was queer, and he took Allie and I aside when we were kind of complaining about the censorship that was happening, and he's like, look, that doesn't matter. What matters is that it's the two of you, two women who are together, who people identify with. You're in their homes every week. You normalize this. You make it so that they go, oh, I know lesbians. I have those lesbian friends on TV, Tara and Willow. They're great. I love them, you know?
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden it's like there's no othering anymore, you know?
Right.
Or it's a step in the right direction away from othering, because we live in this world where we other what we don't understand or what we don't know. And if you don't grow up in a world where there are queer people, you're like, oh, those are others. I don't know how to deal with them. But when you have that in your home every week, you're like, no, I do. I have those people. I connect with those people. Like they are my friends. Those two people on TV are part of my family. They come to my house every Thursday or Friday or Monday for an hour.
Sit in my living room.
You know?
We hang in the cafeteria together. We're buddies.
Yeah.
Yes.
We have to talk, though, on the topic of censorship, given that it was, 18, 20 years ago that this was done.
I love how you
was,
make it
like,
longer. You're like 18, 20 years ago.
Like, well,
75 years
she
ago.
died 18 years ago. You were on the show for 2 seasons.
Like, please
before
don't add
then.
those 2 years.
I'm just doing the math,
I'm just teasing you.
All I'm saying is...
You're old, Amber. That's all I'm saying.
Dead Tara could vote at this point, I mean...
It's true. It's true.
That's true. Tara's ghost, voting in the next election. It's gonna be great. But on the topic of censorship, given that it was a different time then than, people making shows now, like for relationships that are on TV now, are there things that you wish that you guys could have done? Are there things you wish could have been handled differently? Like looking back, if it was, TV now as opposed to TV then?
I don't think I would change anything as far as like the emotional intimacy of the relationship. I think it's always good to see people being physically intimate with each other on television and to normalize that. I do think that is an important thing. When you see two women holding hands or kissing or in bed together, I think that's important to see. We live in a world...
You want to bring the house down. That's...
Yeah. I think that's important. I think we live in and this is across the board. I think we live in a culture that loves to shame about sex and about bodies. The other thing is that, like, I'm not a skinny mini. I am like a normal woman with curves and hips and stuff. And I think seeing two women, one is like, looks like Allie, one looks like me, and seeing that and that in a physical thing is also really impactful and important, to see different shapes and sizes and genders and, and the fluidness of gender. I think representing that in a physical way and seeing that everybody is sexual and there's nothing wrong with it, that it shouldn't be shamed or made dirty or judged. So I think, we probably would have gone a little edgier if we were now.
I love that, though. I 100% agree. We have to wrap up soon-ish, but I want to talk a little bit about the Buffy reboot. I know there's like a Buffy reboot that's potentially coming out. I don't know.
You might know more than me.
Speculation. It's all speculation now that like maybe there's a reboot or a revamp coming out.
Yeah.
A revamp, but
yeah. Why do I keep doing that?
I got you.
Either way, if there is something coming out, even if it was a few years out, what would you want to see in the new show?
I think Buffy suffered from a lack of diversity. There are very few people of color in the show. And I think that is something that is true to an extent to all of what was happening in mainstream television. There were shows where it was like, oh, this is a person of color show. But there, is one person of color on a mainstream, like, white show.
Yeah.
And I think, in a world that is so diverse, you walk outside your door and if you live in any kind of city, you will see people from all different walks of life. We are a melting pot. So the fact that we don't have that on Buffy, at least the first time around, is sad to me. It is indicative of the time. People weren't thinking about, oh, we need to include people. People are just like, we're fine with our totally white shows.
Yeah.
And that's a mistake. You lose the voices that are out there that have different points of view that will change and shape how we deal with each other. And in a political time where we are so divided, we need those unique voices coming in and being like, wait, over here, I got something to say on this. You guys aren't doing it right. Let me talk too. Maybe if we all come together, we can have a solution to this. So yeah, I would love if they do a reboot. I would love for it to be a very diverse show. I know they were talking about having a Buffy that would be a woman of color, and that the showrunner is a woman of color, that they're talking about running the show. And I think that is incredible. And she was a fan, and I think that's also really important, that here is somebody who knows the show, knows it backwards, forwards, was of that time growing up, and I think that would make it a better reboot. And it sounds like Joss will be involved to an extent, and so it's not going to just be someone taking his characters and running away. Like, I think, it could be really interesting. I would love to see a diverse Buffy. A Buffy
let's get some diverse Slayers out here.
I know, right?
Yes.
Okay, but wait, I have one last thing I have to bring up. You mentioned you're coming back to ClexCon this year. We can't wait to see you there. Gonna be a blast. You might also have seen there's gonna be someone else there this year. Ayari Lamone's gonna be joining
I
us
heard
at ClexCon.
I love her.
And I'm curious because I don't think I've heard your thoughts on. Have you ever met Ayari before?
Many times. She's fantastic.
Okay.
I literally spent a whole weekend in Paris with her at a convention. And
Did
the
you?
two of us were like, where's the food? Can we go get food? Where's the food? Like,
so basically, Willow has a type.
Yes.
I know, right?
Yes.
So I'm curious because once they didn't have you in a cafeteria forcing you to watch the show, did you watch season 7 with Kennedy?
I watched some of the Kennedy stuff just because I was curious what they were doing, and I thought she was great. I had so much pushback when Seth, because, I was friends with Seth Green. I knew Seth from, kid actor days. And I was so excited. I was like, I got to work with Seth. And then I show up and they're like, no, you're actually going to be,
replacing
him in that. Yeah. So I was really bummed on a personal level because he's wonderful. He's such a good egg. But people were like, I don't like this Tara. And then they did the same thing to Kennedy.
Yeah.
They were like, oh, it's Tara. You hate Kennedy. And I think it's hard when we have these like favorites that we get really enmeshed with. And then there's change. And we're all like, as human beings, we don't like change. But I thought they did a nice job with it. And I felt like it was important for her to move on.
So
Lee's
a big
no hard
Kennedy
feelings.
stan.
Not at all. Not at all. I mean, I would never, like, if I died, I would not want the person that I was with to never date somebody because that's silly.
Please never feel joy ever again without me.
No. Yeah. No, you want people, like, if you truly love somebody, you want them to be happy.
True.
There you have it. So everyone can stop hating Kennedy now.
Yay!
Tara's okay with it. It's fine. It was so great talking to Amber. We're going to kick it back to our Lez-ssentials episode, and we're going to bring Amber back for our Q&A at the end.
We will try to move us through some of the rest of the series a little bit faster from here on out because it's so hard to rush the story of Willow and Tara getting together and actually starting their relationship because, the end of New Moon Rising, I think, is kind of officially when they start dating. But we do want to just hit some of the high points now of the rest of the time that they spend together on the show because it spans a while. Yeah,
3
Tara
full
was around
seasons.
for a long
4,
time.
5, and 6.
Yeah.
Which is huge. Yeah.
So let's talk about some of the high points. They do get a cat.
Yes. Oh my God, Miss Kitty Fantastico.
Yes. They are the gayest. They are so
gay.
Just giant lesbians together.
Willow goes, I can't believe we got a cat. Or it's, your cat. She's like, it could be ours if you want.
It
gay.
can be ours. Oh
Gay.
my God.
So gay.
Also, can we talk about, just because it's a little fun tidbit for anyone who doesn't know, so in the end of season 4, in Restless, when they have the dream episode, and Willow's dream starts out with Tara lying face down but topless and Willow's writing on her back. So just for anyone who doesn't know, she is writing one of Sappho's love letters, or one of her poems, love poems, on Tara's back.
Of course she is.
Of course she is.
Of
just
course
little
she is.
nods like that. Just what make this show so great. And
I love it.
Yeah, they just, God, they're so cute and domestic and adorable for so long after this, and I love it so much.
I know. I love all the domesticity is just so good. I also love just like whenever they're half naked in bed, love it. Let's like really push for more of that. Then after the dream stuff, we get to Dawn. And I just want to say one line from Dawn that was amazing. This is the first episode we ever see Dawn in. She's writing in her diary. And she says, I told Mom one time I told Mom one time I told them to teach me some of the things they do together. I guess her generation isn't cool with witchcraft.
Oh my God. She's like, she got real quiet and sent me to my room.
Yeah, sent me to my room for asking, oh, what do they do together?
Yeah.
Who knows?
Joyce, like you and Pat don't know what they get up to in that room.
Oh my God.
You're fooling no one.
True.
Sorry, it's not a should have been game. We'll get there someday.
Yes.
Can we talk about family real quick?
Yes. So before the episode family, Tara is feeling like she doesn't really belong with the Scooby Gang. She feels like she's an outsider, and Willow's very much like, no, you're important. And Willow's really the only person who's been saying that to her, not really the rest of the gang. So this episode gives me all kinds of feels.
So many feels. Also, another great example of when the show leans into magic being gay. Tara's family shows up in Sunnydale with their story about how the women in their family have some demon in them. It's where the magic comes from.
Some lesbian in them, literally.
Is such a in-your-face, not even subtle at all metaphor of you're gay and we're here to take you home so you're not a disgrace to the family.
Yep.
I remember watching this episode, and I remember that ending scene where Buffy is standing there with Tara's family ready to take her away. You can go ahead and take her. You just gotta go through me.
And
me, all
and
of the
me,
emotions.
And me.
Yes, it is just everything.
It's perfect.
Everything.
And it's such a great episode about chosen family.
Yes.
And just, this is like one of the episodes where Tara does something bad. She casts a spell on everyone, right?
Yes.
Because she is so ashamed of the demon inside of her. She doesn't want anyone to see it. And even though she does this, the whole Scooby Gang is like, you know what? We still love you. And like, you are so important to us. Her dad's like, we're going to take her. She needs to be with family. And then when Buffy literally says she is, we're her family. And I'm like, dead.
Well, and it's the way they say it too, right? Because he's like, we are her blood kin. Who are you? And she just goes, we're family. And you're like, yes. Yes, that's what we're here for. That is what we want to see.
I know, and it's so
The
beautiful.
other thing that I want to see is I love when Spike punches her and they realize that she's just human.
Mm-hmm.
And I love Tara's little reaction of, I'm not a demon. And you're like, so saith all the lesbians. Tara.
She's like, it's okay. I'm just gay. I'm not the devil. I'm just gay.
I'm not evil. I just like ladies.
I'm just
great.
like Willow.
And I love also the dad when he walks out and he just kind of mumbles under his breath like magic. And you're like, homosexuality.
Yeah, gays. Goddamn gays. And
damn gays.
Liberal agenda. And you're like, okay, calm down.
That is exactly what it is.
Literally what it is. And we do have one of the most iconic Willow and Tara moments at the party after, where they dance together. And Tara says, even when I'm at my worst, you always make me feel special. How do you do that?
I can't.
And Willow says, magic.
And then they start floating.
And they're literally floating in the air. Their love has levitated them.
Not for the last time either.
Oh, no. And in much more intense and beautiful ways.
Oh my God.
It's so good. It's so good.
It's just so much. I have so many feelings about Willow and Tara. I'm trying to keep it together. It's very difficult.
I think we're doing pretty well. I know there's one thing that you have here. I have one thing in between that's just a random thing, but I think is important. Because it's the first time that Willow and Tara actually say that they're gay together.
Ellie, how did we take the exact same notes?
Because we're both really intelligent human beings.
That's so true. So true.
But the council comes and they're questioning them like, so what's your relationship? And they're asking about the relationship with Buffy, but Willow and Tara start freaking out and they're like, we're friends. No, we're more than friends.
Good
you know
friends.
What? We're girlfriends. We're lesbian,
do you
gay
want the whole
type.
line? Because I wrote it down.
Yes, we're lesbian, gay type lovers.
It goes, friends, good friends, girlfriends. We're in love. We're lesbian, gay type lovers.
And it's the first time we've really named it, and I love it. So even though we obviously know, but
we know.
I love it. As their relationship progresses too, Tara continuously keeps calling her more pet names, and it makes me melt. It's part of the drinking game. We also have a drinking game for this Lez-ssentials. So anytime Tara calls Willow any sort of like baby, honey, sweetie, drink. That's
Love
all.
it.
Gotta add it in there. All right, now it is time for the body.
I can't. This scene, again, watching this scene live when it aired and what that meant. Because think about it. We have had so much of their relationship up until now. You know what's happening. You know they're in love. They keep alluding to it. They keep doing spells together. They blow out the candle together. They have never once shown you them kiss.
Yep.
Ever. And not only does it happens in what I think is possibly one of the hardest episodes of this show to watch. I have rewatched this series so many times, and watching the body,
it's rough.
It is rough every time. And the fact that they gave them not just their first kiss, but their first kiss with not even like the opportunity, the imperative for it to be so raw, just emotional, and that kiss.
It's so good. And it's like forehead kiss first, and then it's like, no, fuck the forehead. This is too much. Like, you are grieving. I need to be consoling you. I need to be close to you. We are kissing because I love you and I want you to be okay.
It is a whole lot.
It's so good. It's so great. And I love that it's like, it's such an intimate moment, but it's not sexualized.
Yes.
Like,
yes.
It's such an intimate moment. Of course, like, they've kissed many times before, but like, this kiss is like caring. It's like physical closeness. And like, that's what it's about. I think it's just perfect.
Props to Allison and Amber. Like, they went for it.
Oh,
and and you'd have to, because if you're going to, with how much they have sold this relationship and sold their connection, I mean, let's be real. We have seen straight actresses kiss less convincingly.
Yes.
In shows and movies in the past and post this, so it felt real. The scene feels real. It's a lot. It's a lot. I love it. I still hate this episode, but I love this moment.
Well, and to the line afterwards, she's like, we can be strong like the Amazon. Oh, God.
There's so much in this scene.
There's so much. And this too, so we said we were going to have spoilers all over the place. So if you're listening, you know what happened. But Joyce has passed away, and so they're going to the funeral. And this is also a big part of, I think, Tara and Willow really stepping up to take this maternal role for Dawn, because Buffy's dealing with losing her mother, and she can't also deal with taking care of her younger sister. And so this is a huge part. Like, even at the funeral, they take Dawn with them. They make sure she's okay. They like make breakfast for her. So this is like a big turning point, and like, their relationship is so strong. They're taking care of their family now.
Yeah.
Like, there's so many things that happened during Willow and Tara's relationship. Like, to me, like, they dated, they dealt with exes, they're dealing with magic shit, they become mothers.
They deal with mental illness, Ellie.
They deal with mental illness, which we're going to talk about too. They deal with so many things together and then get through all of it, really.
Yeah. Okay, I know we can't spend a ton of time on the Tara losing her mind arc, but can we just take a quick second to talk about how devoted Willow is in those scenes?
It's too...
Glory sucks her brain out, and Willow's just like, you hear that, baby? You're my always. And I'm like, I can't.
And
I can't do it.
It's also, there's just like so much gay subtext. Like, when she goes to the hospital to be like, I'm taking her home. Like, she needs to be home with me. And they're like, oh, you her sister?
Yeah.
You're like, no, bitch. I'm her wife.
Let me tell you what every queer female relationship has run into at one point in time or another. That conversation. Oh my God.
And even too, like, there's a point where Tara literally slaps Willow. She slaps her in the face because she is completely out of it. Her mind is gone. She slaps her, and Willow, of course, that's painful to have the women that you love slap you in the face, and she still deals with everything with such patience.
Yeah.
And love.
Oh.
And it's
a lot.
It's so much.
I also, just real quick, I have to shout out the line. So when she does undo the brain sucking, I love when Glory sees Tara at the site and she runs up, grabs her, and she's like, "What are you doing here?" Oh my God, that entrance when Willow just shows up right next to them and goes, "She's with me." And
yes.
Freaking shoves her fingers into her skull, and you're just like, bad ass girlfriend. I love it. Ugh. So
and
good.
You know the other line where finally she's like, "Tara, please, you're back, whatever." And Tara says, "I got so lost."
It's
and
a
then
lot.
Willow says, "I will always find you."
It's so much.
It's so much.
It's so much.
It's so much. All right, and then it's just so much.
We're gonna make it through this, Ellie. I'm here for you.
This isn't even the worst part.
I know we're gonna be strong. Okay. Let's move on. Let's get to UPN. Can we switch over to UPN?
Yeah.
Okay. Here's what I love. So we finished season 5. Buffy dies. Very emotional. They switched networks.
Yes.
Right? At this point in time, Buffy, the show, moved from the WB to UPN. And what I love is the very first episode, the first scene, you see Willow and Tara when they move to the new network, and they are being domestic moms, living in the house to take care of Dawn. And the very first thing is they're just getting up. It's like a morning, get everyone out the door scene. And they just are in the hallway and they give each other like a little peck on the lips. Right?
Yep.
And
they kiss so much after this. I'm like, hell
they kiss so much when they switched networks. WB very obviously pushed back very hard on letting them have any sort of physical relationship on screen. They changed networks, and you could tell it was like it set the scene that they just said, "Hey, here's the thing. They are dating. They can show small, intimate moments just because that's what couples do. You're getting ready in the morning, you're getting dressed, you walk past each other in a hallway,
and you kiss.
A little kiss on the lips, little peck, move on." But it's like a nothing. It's like a blip when you watch it. But it was so meaningful in terms of the direction that they were going on the new network and what they were going to be doing. And they do. Oh my God, they're cuddling in bed all the time.
It's so good. There's so much snuggling. Like there's so much physical contact. And
which is good because, it's great that they did that right as they just immediately decided to
destroy their relationship
into hell.
Yeah.
Great.
So let's
Great
deal with
times.
that. Yes.
I hate watching them break up again.
It's rough. It's rough.
It's the
but
worst.
That's the thing. Like they've dealt with so many things, right? So it's Tara and her mental illness, losing her mind. And now like we're dealing with addiction.
Mm-hmm.
This is Willow, who is really addicted to magic. Like magic is a metaphor for gayness, but magic is also a metaphor for like substance abuse. Magic is a metaphor for power and like abuse of power. And she cannot stop using it. And so Tara is with an addict that she loves. There are so many people who are with someone who they love and care about, and they're addicted to some sort of thing that really like changes them as a person. And what do you do?
And destroys your relationship.
And destroys their relationship.
There's no more trust.
Yeah, so like what can Tara do? And that's the thing, like Tara leaves Willow basically, number one, because she can't trust her anymore, and she put a spell on her to make her forget being mad at her, which is horrible.
It's not only that, it's also the way, I love how, again, Tara, the growths that you see in Tara as a character from that shy, hesitant, like, I understand Oz is back and you have to do what makes you happy, to this part of their relationship where she is, very clear about saying, hey, this isn't okay. You can't do this to me.
Yep.
Like, I literally had my mind sucked out by a demon. You can't, that's not okay.
And then you did the same thing to me.
Right.
Yeah,
and
mess
if
with
you
my
can't
mind.
get this under control, then I deserve better than this.
Yep.
And how meaningful that is for her to have gotten to that point, even though you can see how much she loves her.
Before we get into the breakup, we need to talk about the singing before the storm or during the storm, really, because she's still under a spell. But we need to talk about the musical episode because it's so freaking good.
Yes.
And there's no way to not talk about it. So Tara is under a spell by Willow where she still can't remember that they're fighting, so everything's perfect. And we have the most beautiful duet in the entire musical episode, which is Under Your Spell.
It's not even really a duet. Does Willow sing anything in it?
Actually, no. You're right. She doesn't. I'm like, it's a duet of sorts.
It's a love song.
Physical duet.
A physical duet.
It's a love song, right? It's a love song to Willow about being under Willow's spell. And this is yet another moment where we talked about earlier. We have the levitation where literally at the end, Willow's going down on Tara. And Tara is...
Look, who's to say what's happening where the camera doesn't show you, Ellie?
You're right. Who knows what's going on there? Whatever. But she literally levitates while she's saying, "You make me come...
Pleat.
Pleat."
Pleat is the important part of that word.
Very important. I so wish that musical episode was happening like before they had all this horrible shit that happened, because it does put a little bit of a tainted vibe on their relationship because everything's good, but like it's really not. But I still love that episode. And that scene.
So good.
So good.
And again, it's some of the things in Buffy where they just know exactly how to get you. The way that they break up in Tabula Rasa, because Tabula Rasa has what, again, is one of the tropes that I love in shows, which is when you take soulmates and you show them being soulmates over and over again, right? It's like when they did it in Winona Earp, where you get the alternate universe way hot and they still find each other and they're still in love because they would fall in love in any universe, in any world and whatever.
Yes.
I love Tabula Rasa, where they don't even know, they have no idea that they have any sort of relationship. Willow is, slowly realizing that she thinks she's kind of gay again throughout the episode as they've forgotten their entire lives
she's like,
and all their
I'm really
memories.
attracted to this girl. Like, what's going on?
And they do, because they do similar things to, how they got them together in the first place, which is they're hiding from demons and they're shoved in, with their faces close together. And they're just doing those little, like a little eye glance or the little breath catch where you're like, oh, there's chemistry happening.
And then they literally are on top of each other. It's like, oh, small. We're on top of each other about to kiss.
And they're about to kiss, and it's like they're kissing for the first time and they're falling in love all over again, and you're watching it happen, and then Xander steps on the charm, whatever.
To basically break the spell,
Breaks the spell, and and everything is bad all of a sudden, and you've been in this, you're watching like first love, young love all over again, and then it's just ripped away and it's horrible, and she leaves, and I hate everything. And also, Michelle Branch's gay culture now, we don't make the rules.
You're right. Also, so let's talk about them getting back together.
Yeah, can we just skip it?
So we're gonna skip. So we're gonna.
I shouldn't do this.
So we're gonna skip the whole breakup. But they do break up, and I think so. I do think the breakup is important because talking about dealing with someone with addiction, Tara leaves Willow to show Willow that her doing magic is hurting the people in her life. Willow needs a catalyst to give up magic. She needs a catalyst. She clearly wasn't going to do it when Willow and Tara were together. Tara asked her to, and literally the day that Tara asked her to, that's when she set this huge spell that fucked with everything, and they had to break up. Like, she's like, yeah, I'll quit. And she does even bigger spell. So
if by quit, I mean mess with your memory even more than I already had.
Yeah. So
not the best.
Not the best. But we do, like, during their breakup, Willow, I think, really does see what she's lost. She sees the impact magic has had on the people around her. I think one time she sees Tara and she says, I've been magic free for 32 days.
Yes. That's what I love about when they do the breakup too, is it's so realistic. They break up, but their lives overlap, right? They can't really avoid each other. And so that's the thing is it's this breakup that neither one of them really wants. They're still around each other all the time. They do such a good job of creating that chemistry and that tension that is just hanging there waiting,
Yes.
And it's so good. It's so like, ugh. You just want to like dig into it.
It's so good. It's so painful. There's a scene like the day after where Tara's in Buffy's house and Willow comes back with Amy.
Yeah.
And it's literally right after they broke up. And she basically thinks like Willow stayed out all night, like sleeping with a stranger.
Who's this girl?
Yeah.
And what is she doing with my girlfriend?
I mean, and it's even worse because she wasn't sleeping with her. She was doing magic with her all night. And she's like, all right, cool. So exactly why we broke up. Awesome.
They were just doing spells all night, Ellie. Come on.
But I do think you're right. It's very realistic and feels authentic with like them getting back together because they were in each other's lives still. So Tara can see that Willow's working on herself. Like Tara can see all those things happening and Willow wants Tara to see those things. And then, they get back together.
They go on a date and Willow has to practice asking her out on a date and it's so much and she's standing in the hallway at school like having a fake conversation asking her to go out for dinner or kisses and gay love. And it's just...
It's so much. And then Tara makes everything a bit easier on Willow by having this whole speech where she's like, it's not so easy. We can't just, have coffee and pretend nothing happened. But can we just skip all that? Let's just kiss. Get to the kissing.
And the kissing, and they do, and your heart is just soaring above the sky, and they're kissing, and they're in bed, and they're happy, and they're flirting, and they're kissing, and they're in bed some more, and everything is beautiful and good, and then the show ends and nothing ever happens.
And that's it. So, so that was the season finale. They had a lot of sex. We pan out on the bed. They're naked and happy. That's really
it. That's where I like to imagine that the show ends.
But this is like honestly the most sex they've had, like that we've seen them have in the whole series. And then we do have to talk about it. So let's get into it.
Okay, well, just to be fast, we're gonna rip off the Band-Aid.
So they're happy, they're back together. Dawn's so happy, Buffy's so happy, everyone's happy. Then Warren, this little Dingleberg, comes in, doesn't understand how to use a gun, shoots it around wherever he feels like shooting it, and hits Tara right in the heart.
It is something that I have to say because I think it's telling that the two deaths in the series that hit the hardest are the two that are outliers in the Buffy universe, right? Joyce and Tara do not die because of demons.
Magic,
they don't die because of a spell. They don't die because of vampires. They don't die because of the apocalypse. They die because of natural health reasons and a gun. And there's just something about that when you watch someone get sucked into a hell dimension or killed by a vampire, there's something that's less real about it because it's not real. Mm-hmm. When you watch someone have an aneurysm and just be dead, or when you watch someone just get shot, it's harder to pretend that it's not real because those are real things that happen. And it's just... I couldn't even do it. Even trying to rewatch it today, Ellie, I got through watching her get shot, and then it started, the next episode starts with Willow just, like, holding her body, begging for her not to be dead, and I was like, I can't do it! I can't do it!
It's so painful. Well, if you didn't keep watching, what you're talking about, like, that's the thing. So Willow goes completely dark. Her eyes are, like, black, and this is, like, Dark Willow, sexy Willow. I love Dark Willow.
Sexy Willow? Is that what we're going with?
I think it's hot. Whatever. The power of it all.
The veins really do it for you.
Yeah, I love it. The vengeful lover. But she summons Osiris and she's like, bring her back, because Willow brought Buffy back from the dead. And so she's like, I can bring people back from the dead. I haven't used magic in so long, but I'm going to use it now because fuck it. The woman that I stopped using magic for is not here anymore, so I'm going to use it to bring her back. And Osiris says, you can't bring her back. She was not killed by magic. She was killed naturally. It's in the natural order of things. And Willow says, like, how can this be natural? Like, how can this be what was meant to happen? And it's so painful because you're right. It's real. It's real.
I can't. I don't want to dive too much into the whole Willow arc and everything.
We don't have to dive into Dark Willow, but we also talked a little bit to Amber, in the middle of the episode about the bury your gays aspects of Tara's death. So we're not going to get too much into it now. But this is really the beginning of the bury your gays trope of somebody so happy, and queer people are so happy and they're back together and in love, and it's completely shattered by death, which is horrible.
Terrible.
Horrible. But I do want to say, like, to wrap up Willow and Tara, even though Tara died, I don't think that negates the impact that Willow and Tara's relationship had on the LGBTQ zeitgeist, right? Like,
oh, absolutely.
There have been LGBTQ characters on shows that have never died and have been far less meaningful than this relation, and far less real, and far
real
less
and rounded of characters.
Yes. So
it is one thing. I think bury your gays as a trope. I mean, yes, it is still problematic, and it still hurts anytime that a queer character is killed on a show. But I also think the main point of that trope is also queer characters being killed off because the writers or the showrunners just didn't know what to do with them, or other than coming in to be gay to, you know, precipitate some storyline, the characters themselves weren't really people in the show, you know? And Tara's not that. Tara has so much growth, so much meaning in this. Like, you couldn't have these seasons without having had Tara, you know?
Yeah.
She had to be there. And she was treated, I think, as an important, integral part of the show. It's so hard to watching that
it's
death
so
again.
Painful. It's so painful.
It's the worst. It's the worst. As much as I you know, it's not one where I can't see the argument for doing it. I do, but it's just, everything is bad. I hate everything. Why did I rewatch
so bad.
this? I know. I do this to myself.
So like
Ellie?
we said before, that's not the end of the story. I'd like to think that there's some beautiful alternate reality where Tara's still alive and they're still having sex all day, every day. So that's what we choose to remember about Tara and Willow. And we choose to remember all of the representation that they truly gave us. So I appreciate everything that Willow and Tara was and is.
Okay. And with that, should we jump to our drinking game rules, Ellie?
Oh, let's do it. All right, this is going to take you a very long time to drink. So if you have many days to sit around and hang out and watch Buffy, you can do this Willow and Tara drinking game. So here we go. Rule number 1. Drink every time Tara uses a pet name for Willow. Sweetie, baby, honey, all of the above. 2, drink every time they're doing magic, but we all really know that means they're having sex. So,
yes.
Often. 3, drink every time Willow and Tara laugh about something that no one else thinks is funny, which is relatively often because they have their own weird little thing going on, but I love them. Rule number 4, drink when Tara and Willow kiss on the lips for the first time, because drink for every time they kiss. I think there's like 3 or 4 little kisses in that one, so you can have a little chug there. Rule 5, drink every time Tara and Willow talk about their cat. So like, oh, we're going to get a cat, or what should we name our cat, or I love our little cat. They're always talking about the cat. Drink every time a member of the Scooby Gang talks about Willow and Tara's relationship without saying the words gay or lesbian. Just unspoken gayness. In the family episode, drink anytime Tara's family talks about the demon inside of her. Ugh.
That's going to be rough in that episode.
Last rule, drink anytime they levitate.
Yes, I love it.
Yeah, so that's it. Drink responsibly, my friends, and please tweet us as you do.
You know we love when people do our drinking games and survive, our favorites.
Are you ready? We're going to do our Q and gay.
I'm ready.
Let's do this.
Q and gay.
Question number 1. I'm going to give you 4 choices, so wait till I give the choices, then you can pick. Who was the gayest Buffy character? A, Tara, B, Willow, C, Buffy, or D, Faith? What a question.
I mean, Faith was pretty they all in some capacity, but Faith is sort of like iconically like the bad girl. Mm-hmm. Sexy. I would kind of like to go with Eliza.
Not even Faith. Eliza. Yeah.
That relationship she and Buffy, you guys were, when I did the podcast at Lexicon, you guys were playing all these clips and I was like, oh my gosh. They have like some secret relationship.
We made a strong case.
You did. That's why I have to go with Faith. You guys have changed my whole
Fair.
Point of view.
People tour should have been gay, one person at a time.
There you go. Okay, question 2. Which witch are you? A good witch, B, a bad witch, or C, somewhere in between?
Oh, gosh. I think she leans way more toward good, if we're talking about Tara, but she definitely made mistakes and did some bad stuff.
What about you
no.
personally?
I was going to say, if it's me, Amber, I am bad to the bone, you guys. Super bad.
You heard it here. Amber's a bad witch.
No, I'm too nice. Too nice. That's bad.
Yeah, she's actually smoking 3 cigarettes and twirling a knife in her hand right now, everyone.
A highball of whiskey and a highball of gin. And
bad to the bone.
Just mixing my alcohol.
Question number 3. What's your favorite type of tree? A, oak, B, birch, C, sequoia, or D, willow?
Well, Amber would say birch, but Tara would say willow.
Good answer.
Okay, fair. I like that we're getting double answers for everything. It's good.
She is me.
Yes.
I am her.
Okay. Knowing that they did make you watch the show, what is your favorite Willow and Tara episode out of Hush, New Moon Rising, Family, or Once More with Feeling?
Well, I'm a sucker for the musical. Once More with Feeling is pretty amazing. And that reprise with Giles that Tara sings is really heartbreaking. And it does have the iconic "spread beneath my willow tree" line in the song.
It does.
Which,
it does. You may hear a callback to that in a song at the end of the episode.
Maybe just a little.
You had to.
It had to be.
It had to be.
All right, question number 5. Who was Willow's one true love? A, Tara, B, Kennedy, or C, Oz?
Oh, I gotta go with Tara. Come on.
Of course.
Yeah, well, we have to make you pick.
I gotta go with Tara.
Come on.
Amber says Tara. Tara says Tara. Tara's gonna be mad if that's not the answer.
Everyone says Tara. Love it. But Willow can be happy.
We want her to be happy.
Other ways as well.
There's not just one person for everybody, right? There's 2.
I did put quotes around it in the question. Your true love.
Your quote unquote.
There you go.
Thank you so much for hanging out with us, Amber.
Oh my gosh. No, thank you
a
guys. This was wonderful. I had so much fun with you guys at Lexicon, so I thought I'd bring you into my house so you could see my drapes.
Yeah.
It's great. I love the lamp.
I wish everyone dirtier than I meant to do. I apologize.
Hey, we don't know what's in that cup, so we'll blame it on the alcohol again. It's fine.
Let me hear you say hip, 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 well, yeah.
We love hearing from you and building our community, so we want to shout out some of our favorite things each episode. And this episode, I would love to shout out Kelly, who sent us an email after going to see the movie Like a Boss and screaming at her friends that it should have been gay. So thank you, Kelly, for spreading the good gay word. Also, after Kelly emailed us, I watched the trailer for Like a Boss, and I cannot wait to see the film because, hell yeah, it looks pretty gay. So thanks for the tip.
It's on our list, Kelly.
Thanks for the tip, Kelly. And as always, we want to thank our Lesbian Jesus patrons, Lizette Stye,
Tanya Ferguson,
Jess Klaus,
Danny Griswold,
Sarah and Julia,
Carrie Ann Lawrence,
Mark Foster,
Danny Gunlock Tamora,
Audrey O'Connor,
Wendy K. Bartlett,
Brittany Ray,
and Kayla Kelly.
And our King Princess patrons, Amy and Ellen.
Remember, you can also follow us on all the social medias on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter at LesHangoutPod.
Or you can email us at leshangoutpod@gmail.com.
You can check out our website at leshangoutpod.com.
Make sure you subscribe so you'll be the first to know when new episodes drop.
We also still have videos going up on our YouTube channel. We will have a video going up for our original song for Tara and Willow, so keep an eye out on our YouTube. It's youtube.com/LesHangoutPod, and you don't want to miss it.
You really do not. If you want to support the podcast, listen to our song. It's amazing. It's going to come out at the end of this episode as well, so be sure to wait. But you can also rate and review us on iTunes. It's completely free, and the easiest way to support us helps other people find the show and let them know how much you love us.
If you want to support us financially, you can join our Patreon at bit.ly/lespatreon. You get so many cool perks. We have a Discord chat. We have Lez-ssentials watch parties. We have blooper reels. Lots of fun stuff. Again, you can find it at bit.ly/lespatreon.
If you want some merch, you can get that at bit.ly/lezshop. We got a lot of great tees, totes, tanks, all of the tees. And I'm like, what else starts with T?
Tea mugs.
Tea mugs. Yeah, mugs for tea. We've got a lot of merch there. Just head over to bit.ly/lezshop. You will not be disappointed.
And if you want to follow us individually, you can find me on Instagram or on Twitter at LSHFoster.
And you can find me at Ellie Brigida on Instagram and Twitter. With that, I'm Ellie.
And I'm Lee.
And let's hang out again soon.
Let's hang out.
I always stuck to the shadows. Could I ever deserve the light? But you saw right through all the things I did to hide. And even if I lost my mind, I know that you would come and find me. You would never leave me behind. 'Cause I am yours, I am. Through the dark and the dawn, oh, I am yours, I am. So you've got to carry on. Don't lose sight of the fight. I am by your side. Oh, I am yours. I am for all time. I thought I'd missed my chance at love. How could I stumble upon it twice? But when I found you, everything I thought I knew was lies. And even when I lost my way, I knew that you'd be there to save me, help me dream of better days. 'Cause I am yours, I am. Through the dark and the dawn, oh, I am yours, I am. So you've got to carry on, set your sight on the line. I am by your side, 'cause I am yours, I am for all time. And when I just think of you beneath, I stumble to my knees. I can feel the crashing of the tide. I wish we'd had eternity. The rest of our lives. 'Cause I am yours, I am. Through the dark and the dawn, oh, I am yours, I am. So you've got to carry on, set your sight on the light. I am by your side, 'cause I am yours, I am for all time. Oh, I am yours, I am for all time.
Buffet brawlers, glory holes gone wrong, cannibalistic castration cabins, public poopers. These are just a few of the crazy topics you'll hear covered on Excuse Me, That's Illegal, the pettiest podcast around. Whether you need a break from all that murdery true crime stuff, or just enjoy hearing hilarious stories told in a unique way, I got what you need. I'm Leroy Luna, your fearless host/chauffeur. So come hop in my minivan and let's go for a ride. I promise you probably won't be disappointed. Excuse Me, That's Illegal is available on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, basically everywhere you consume podcasts, with new episodes dropping on the 10th, 20th, and 30th of the month, baby!